Okay, hi again. Welcome to Indonesia Beyond Borders. This is a talk show series organized by methanolcom. I'm Kurniawan Hari, Head of Corporate Communication at Metan Indonesia. As we know, Metan Indonesia is a global B2B e-commerce platform which aims to help facilitate export for Indonesian sellers to reach a wider audience globally. Here we have a special guest, Mr. Rajat Gupta is President Director of ACP, Asia Citra Pratama, a textile producer in Indonesia. Mr. Rajat Gupta has been a professional in this business for several years, around 29 years in the business. So I think he is very capable, very professional to discuss about the business in the textile industry. So welcome, Mr. Rajat.
Thank you. It's glad to be here.
Yeah. So we can discuss about, maybe you can tell us about the business, especially in the textile business industry in Indonesia. How is it before the pandemic and maybe during the pandemic? How the pandemic have impacts on the business?
So I think the whole world is going through a lot of transition, as we've seen with the COVID situation. And I think Indonesia has a very important role to play in the overall, when I talk about textile or apparel industry, to cater to the overall demand that could be different, the way the sourcing has been done in the past, pre-COVID, and how the consumers are looking at different ways, or the companies who are sourcing products from Indonesia, maybe looking at sourcing in a different way. But I think overall business point of view, after COVID, the business, especially in the textile and apparel world in Indonesia, have to be prepared for looking at the opportunities that are coming in. And it's very critical to have the right infrastructure, the investments that are required to support the opportunities of business that is coming in, both from the organized retail, like the brands, big brands, international brands, looking at sourcing from Indonesia, as well as the regional sourcing, regional brands, which are also looking at Indonesia as a very skilled workforce, but in a price competitive way. And I think there are a few challenges that we need to overcome in terms of providing like ease of doing business, and that's where I think there is an improvement required.
Mr. Rajat, would you tell us what is exactly the product that your companies produce and sold to the market?
So I'm the head of this fabric mill, and we are producing all kind of fabrics. The way we look at it ourselves is we are the textile enabler. And what I mean is basically that we're trying to create a textile hub for Indonesia, for Indonesian market as well as for export purpose, by providing variety of fabrics from our fabric mill.
So what is the main challenge actually when you in the business? I mean, when you do export, maybe you have a specific challenge that you can share with us.
Sure. I think the biggest, or one of the biggest challenges is the backward integration of the supply chain. What we see in a finished product, we don't have enough raw material suppliers who can provide variety of materials. Like for us, when we want to be a textile hub for international markets, they are looking for very variety of fabrics that are not available in Indonesia. But to accomplish that, we still need to then import the raw material, and that poses a challenge, because then we are dependent on importing these fabrics, whereas rather we could have our own gray suppliers like weavers and knitters to be able to diversify their products to the international customer needs.
With the advancement of technology, digital technology, is there any improvement for this business, Mr. Rajat?
The technology helps in creating the transparency. I think the traditional way of doing business is like you have just one-to-one, connection and relationship, which is very important. But in the today's world, you need to have more uh, transparency across your supply chain. Even like companies are looking at where the fiber is coming from, and then yarn and fabric, and then who's making the final product. So with that technology, and also it becomes the technology also provides platforms where you can search for the right manufacturers and connect with them online. So I think these kind of platforms are needed to bring the customer who's looking for the manufacturer and connecting manufacturer with the brand that is interested to source.
So today you met with methanolcom team, and you have got explanation about what kind of platform Methanolcom is. So what is your comment on that, or maybe your see future collaboration maybe?
Yeah, I think it's a great initiative, and I think something that was required has been a big need for a country like Indonesia. So I would like to congratulate Ilyas and the team that is supporting this initiative. I think everyone should support, especially manufacturers from Indonesia, because it's not a small task connecting the manufacturers from Indonesia to the outside world. And I think, as I mentioned earlier, the Indonesia has a great opportunity, but we need to tap into it in a very in a modern way, the way customer in different international markets are looking at interacting with the brands and manufacturers. So I think having this online presence will really define that new way of working to enable the right right support which the brands need from the manufacturers.
Given your vast experience, and I think Mr. Ilyas a bit impressed by your experience and offer you a role as a curator. How do you see your role may play the good part for this supply chain process?
I'm very excited partnering of this because I'm very passionate about the fashion industry, the apparel industry, and being a textile and apparel professional living in Indonesia. I think we together, if we collaborate with each other and partner with each other with like-minded people, bringing the strengths from different industry streams, we can really position ourselves in a much stronger way. And I'm looking forward to this partnership, working together to provide support from my side based on my experience, and define the way forward.
Mr. Rajat, in your view, how Indonesian textile or garment products can compete with other products from other countries?
Yeah, great question. Because I think that's one of the challenges. Like, even though on one side we have the opportunity, but how do we really be very competitive in our manufacturing? One of the things is the scale of operations. As we know, why China is the manufacturing hub for all industries is because of the economy of scale. They really have the right the level of the capacities that are required. And even other countries like Bangladesh or Vietnam have really progressed well by having these large organizations or large manufacturing facilities, which will give them the competitive edge. So Indonesia, the advantage is we have skilled workforce, very trainable. Like, even when we're talking about apparel fashion products, you can hire people who can get trained very fast. In order to stay competitive, we have to really look at our production efficiencies, improve our methods, like bring automation, and a combination of human resource and the machinery can bring that kind of competitive advantage to Indonesia, and then scaling up the operation based on the business that we are doing. I think that overall will bring the competitiveness.
Of course, we all hope that the pandemic will soon be handled properly, and we all hope that business will run as usual, recover. So maybe you have your hopes, your expectation This can be a closing statement, Mr. Rajat.
Absolutely. I think we have to evolve because the time has come. I think the pandemic has shown us that we cannot just continue the business the old way. And the way the industry is moving and the consumers are moving towards their buying patterns is changing. The industry which is dependent on these brands has to really evolve to cater to more small and medium size businesses like brands or designers who want to create their own collections, and the manufacturing industry has to support that to be able to like really bring those kind of flexibilities in the supply chain, and that I think Indonesia can play an important role in bringing that flexibility, and that's what I think post COVID we will need to cater to.
Thank you, Mr. Rajat, for your time.
Thank you.
Here we can to the conclusion of our talk show with Mr. Rajat Gupta, a man with immense experience in the textile and garment industry. I hope our talk show will give insight for all business players and maybe the government. Thank you for watching.